Hey guys, this is Jacques from MakuluLinux, and today I'm going to be showing you Alpha 2.2 of the upcoming, well, what I've labeled as fun build of MakuluLinux. Now, before I start, I just want to tell you what the build is all about, because it's vital that you actually understand that. Firstly, it's not a build that I would usually make. I was actually very against this build for quite a while. Everybody kept asking me, telling me everybody else is making a sort of a Windows look-alike. Can't Makulu please do one as well? There's quite a lot of people on the chat and forums that I notice. They convert their neighbors into Linux and so forth, and they're always looking for something that's familiar, and the neighbors and everybody else uses Windows. And anyway, they kept harassing me, and yeah, a couple of months later, here I am making a build requested by the community. So this is what I've labeled a fun build. It is a community request that I'm fulfilling. So therefore, there is virtually no limits on this build. There's going to be stuff in here that I don't normally put in, stuff that you'd probably be a little shocked is in the build or whatever. Just keep in mind, this is a fun build. This is not a official sort of something I would normally do. That being said, it is based on Debian testing, and therefore I chose Cinnamon as the platform to do this build on. It is Cinnamon 2.2.4 and now I know a lot of people are going to go, but why not use the latest Cinnamon 2.4? And all the reviewers are going to point it out, as they usually do. The fact is, Cinnamon 2.4 is not in testing. I'm based on testing, therefore I use what is in testing. Okay, and 2.2.4 is currently in testing. Now at some point 2.4 might come into testing, or it probably will. Everything makes its way into testing, but for the time being 2.2.4 is in testing, and therefore I'm based on 2.2.4. This is a 64-bit build, and therefore you need a 64-bit capable CPU, and I don't think I'm going to make a 32-bit build, maybe if I get enough requests for it, but at this point I have a lot on my plate. And most people that are coming from Windows that are going to use this build, Windows uses almost a gig of RAM just on idle. Most people have capable PCs to run this, so it shouldn't be an issue. It's more the Linux guys that are used to running the much older the machines that will struggle to run this. That being said, one last thing I want to say is I am not making a direct Windows clone, okay? So that's not my intentions at all. You want a direct Windows clone, download Chalet OS. They do a very good job at cloning Windows into Linux, okay? My goal was plain and simple. I wanted to make something that was familiar, but with my own feel and look and style and so forth. Therefore, Windows users will feel familiar with maybe the icons and the menu a little bit and so forth, but there is a lot of stuff that I've done in here that is not standard. Standard as in it's not Windows-like, okay? But in all the right places, it does feel familiar, or it should feel familiar for a Windows user, to make it easier for him to actually use a Linux distro. So that was my goal, to make something similar but not exact, okay? So let's look what's under the hood. Right off the bat, you're going to see the desktop environment. You're going to see the icons. They obviously are Windows icons. You'll see the clock and the calendar, and you'll see the quotes at the bottom. Both are controlled via the wallpaper changer, which I include in every distro. I should think it should be in every distro in the world. I've included a lot of sort of Windows-like wallpapers. They're not all Windows wallpapers, they're just Windows-like, because Windows-like, well, put it this way, the Windows environment, they like grassy stuff, hills, clouds, that kind of stuff. So one or two may come from a previous Windows distribution, but quite a few of them probably don't. They're just very sort of, Windows-like kind of wallpapers. So there's a nice little variety here, not too many, not too little, just enough to sort of, make everything look nice and cozy. Okay, so let's just leave it on that one. You'll also notice that you've got all the standard icons and stuff, all the standard shortcuts and icons on the bottom. You'll notice there is no synapse on this build. I usually put a synapse on the right. I'm still deciding and contemplating whether to do that. I probably will. This is still an alpha, remember. I probably will. For now though, I have not included it because I actually just using it and trying to see if I actually like it without. Just hold on here. I think let me just fix this. There we go. Anyway, sorry man, I've been mucking with the themes and I think I kind of pulled that menu a little bit out of proportion there. It auto fixes itself if you click auto allow resizing. Anyway, so yeah, out of the box, it's a beautiful desktop. Very beautiful, very pretty, as always with most of the Makulu builds. You'll get your clock and calendar at the bottom. You'll get your Bluetooth manager. You'll get your update manager, your wallpaper changer, your battery and power settings. You'll get your sound settings. It's got quite a nice little panel for that, interface for that. You'll get your network and you'll get your notifications. On the other side, you'll get your file manager, web browser, terminal, software manager. Right, so the bottom panel is pretty plain, pretty standard to how I usually put them on Makulu builds. You'll notice there's some nice transparency on the bottom panel with the default theme. I wanted something that was very bluish because the idea was to mix Luna with Aero. So mix the Luna. Now Luna is basically another name for the XP, Windows XP. There was a lot of Luna themes floating around, so it was very bluish, you know what I mean. I kind of like that look. And also Aero, the Aero look for Windows 7. I kind of blended the two, and that's how I came with this default theme. So your shell theme is more of a Luna theme, you know, it's a bottom blue panel that's kind of slightly transparent, and then you've got the blue and the sort of almost gray blue little box over here. So you kind of got that kind of system going here. You'll notice that the menu is a little different from the stock menu, as in I don't like the stock menu. The stock menu I find wastes a lot of space, and a lot of the icons and buttons are sort of a little bit out of proportion, especially with certain themes. Whereas in this configurable menu allows you to really edit the menu to your heart's desire. So I literally can sit and redesign this menu almost as I want. At the moment I have it with all the useful system, icons over here on the right. I've got the log out and quit bottom right. On the left I've got the favorites, I've got the search bar, and if I click all applications, the whole menu changes and gives me the categories and the applications. The theme is very nice. Like I said, it's got a sort of a see-through blue, big thick border around it. It's got the very slightly see-through sort of a grey blue for the favorites, which highlights a nice grey block. And if you actually go onto the categories, you'll see it actually puts a nice little arrow onto each category as you select it. Okay, you'll also notice that when I actually select an item, if you look here where the little profile picture is on the top right hand corner, you'll see that it actually gives a name and like a long description for whatever I'm highlighting. Okay, that's nice. You'll see it here as well, where it's actually listed inside the gray block, and the icon changes over here. So both of these change when I actually select an item. So it's very nice, very, very, very sleek, and the Windows users will feel right at home with this menu. It's not an exact clone of the Windows menu, but it's close enough to feel familiar, you know. So it's a really, really nice menu. You can reconfigure it, you can resize it. I mean, you can select resize, you can select automatic size. If you allow resize, you can actually then just hold on, take automatic size off. If you allow resize, you can actually drag the menu to whatever size you want. You can, you know, make it thin, small, whatever. So you can resize. This is very nice. If you choose automatic size, it will then obviously resize itself, and it will actually keep all the width and length and everything accordingly. I think I'll probably most likely leave it on automatic size when I do release, because it does just reshape itself nicely like it's supposed to, you know. So very cool. I also noticed that with like the start menu and other window like menus, the spacing's always off, you know, especially the gaps, and then you'll get this little search bar sitting over here, but then you have this big empty gap over here, whereas in this one doesn't do that. It's very awesome. So very awesome menu. Right, and it's also got the nice effects of when you open and close it, as you can see. Okay, so that's the Luna shell theme that I use. Okay, I'll get into the rest of the themes. There are a couple others. The actual GTK3 theme is the transparent arrow theme. So that's pretty cool. It's very nice looking. It highlights the buttons, highlight nicely. The theme has got sort of a light blue, shiny, white kind of look to it. Very awesome. You can actually see it when you open up things like package manager as well. Where's the package manager? If you open up, you'll see when you open a window, it's got the nice blue, sort of a light, very light blue with the blue borders and the sort of white text input boxes where you can put in your password. The text is clear when you type it. It's a very nice looking theme. If you actually open up somewhere, you'll also see that the buttons are nice and round and shiny, very popped up. The background is sort of a very light blue, and of course the highlights are also blue. The background windows are all white. So very nice GTK3 theme. The right click panel, pop-ups also sort of a white blue. So yeah, very slick theme. The border theme is of course the arrow theme, the Windows 7 theme. Now you can't make window borders inside Cinnamon transparent. Unfortunately, you cannot. But the next best thing you can do is to give it a sort of almost like a grayish look, to sort of give it almost that, like, you know, it's almost transparent kind of thing. So that's what you kind of have here. You have these very nice looking Windows 7 look-alike borders with the actual buttons sitting in the right place. They're not off, they're not too big, they're not too small, they highlight the perfect colors, everything's just honky-dory. The icons are the Windows icons, as you'll see here, with the typical folders and the computer screens and stuff. So that's all very nice. Windows users will feel right at home with this build and this look. So in a nutshell, I just want to go through the menu items before I actually get onto the themes. I've included a lot of stuff in this distro. The ISO is not going to be small. Expect it to be somewhere between 1.5 and 1.7 gigabyte download. You know, since most likely Windows users will use this, I've actually had to sort of put things like Steam Windows on here as well. So you don't just have Steam Linux, you have Steam Windows, which means I had to pre-configure Wine, and I had to obviously install Steam onto Wine. And so of course, you know, the moment you actually run Wine and pre-configure it, it already takes up 300-400 megs on its own, and now you start adding applications and Mono and everything else, and suddenly that folder becomes like 700 megs, like as quick as you can snap your fingers. So that does take quite a chunk of the ISO, but at the end of the day, no Windows user has to install his Steam. He can run Steam Linux, which is the native Steam for Linux, or he can run Steam Windows. It's there, it's already installed, and not only is it installed, but I've already put a couple of fixes in there. For example, the text that doesn't show, and anybody that's ever run Steam via Wine will know these little things like these are an issue. So I've already done that for the user. So the user just literally boots it up and logs in, and you know, has no issues with that. So that's pretty cool. But let's start with it at the top. Under accessories, you obviously have a calculator, you got your antivirus, you got LeafPad, you got a menu editor, you got a screenshot tool, you got variety. I have included Synapse, although I haven't linked it. I'm still deciding what to do with Synapse. Under games, you got of course your Solitaire, Mahjong, You've got your Play on Linux, which is the front end for Wine, which is also pre-installed. You've got Steam Linux and you've got Steam Windows. So you've got two different Steam versions on here. That's pretty cool. Both already set, ready to go. Just update and log in. And of course, you've got Sudoku. Under graphics, you've GNOME GNOME Paint, which is a very similar paint to the Windows Paint program. That's specifically why I chose it. I wanted something that's familiar, you know. So once again, they're going to open up a paint program and it's going to look very familiar. Same as, you know, LeafPad. If you actually open up LeafPad, you'll notice LeafPad and Notepad look very much the same, you know, which is, I guess, why I've always liked LeafPad, you know. Look, I'm an ex-Windows user myself. I might have been on Linux now for quite a while, but I am an ex-Windows user originally. So, you know, I do feel comfortable sometimes in apps that kind of remind me of what I used to run. You've also got an image viewer, which is the Eye of Gnome image viewer. It's quite a nice image viewer. Can't fault it. It's got nice big buttons. Very easy to use. Windows users will jump right into that. Let's get on to ImageMagick is included. I actually would prefer not to install this. I'm not a big ImageMagick fan, but Play on Linux does require it, and a couple of other apps as well. MyPaint is included, so it's a nice little painting program. So you've got a drawing program and a painting program. It's pretty cool. Under Internet, you've got the Chromium web browser. You've got Megasync for 50 gigs of free online storage. You've got Netflix. You can run Netflix out of the box, no issues, and also there's no restrictions on the countries. I haven't finished setting that up yet. This is still alpha, but I am busy with it. The end product will basically allow you to watch Netflix in any country, even if you are blocked, because I know a lot of the countries are blocked with Netflix. I will be bypassing that, so there will be no worries about not being able to watch Netflix. You'll be able to watch in any country. Pigeon is, of course, your messenger of choice. You get Pigeon on Windows as well, so a lot of people will feel quite at home with that. Popcorn Time is installed by default. Now, I know a lot of people are going to scream, "Oh my God, how can you do that?" Well, this is a fun build. It's supposed to be fun. How fun would it be if it didn't have Popcorn Time? Okay, I will be putting up warning signs all over the show, on the release notes, on the pop-up hints when you start the distro, to tell users that Popcorn Time is installed, pre-installed, and if it's not allowed in your country, either remove it straight away or use another distribution. I'll put up some notice like that or whatever. But it is a fun build, therefore I am including it. So it is pre-installed, and this is on Debian, so that's very nice, because I know it's quite hard to install Popcorn Time on Debian. Skype is pre-installed. All Windows users pretty much use Skype, so Skype is pre-installed. That's quite nice. Under Office, you got your WPS Office suite, and that is pretty much very much a clone of Microsoft Office. So the Windows users, because I'm guessing a lot of Windows users will target this build. That's why I keep referring to Windows users. But Windows users will feel right at home with this Office suite. I mean, it's so close to a Windows clone, it's not even funny. Let's go new here. As you can see, the panel, the menu is the ribbon type menu, much like Microsoft Office. The look and feel is very similar. So, and it's fully compatible with Microsoft Office formats. So those guys will just, they'll lap it up. You've got a multi-page document viewer, which opens up PDFs and a whole bunch of other formats. So there's a nice little PDF viewer. You've got Evolution, which is an email program, fully compatible with Gmail and a whole bunch of other stuff. So it's very actually similar to a Microsoft Outlook. I would say it's not a clone. It's just it's got a lot of the features. So they'll enjoy Evolution more than Thunderbird. Yeah. So I've included Evolution. You've got the whole of Wine pre-installed, so you can just double-click any exe file, any bat file, any MSI file, and kind of just run it out of the box without any issues. Under Sound and Video, I've got Audacious as the music player, which is quite nice. I've got Brasero as your DVD writing program, which is quite awesome. I've installed Handbrake. That's for ripping your DVDs and Blu-rays and other stuff. So that I would not normally include in a build. Is same with PTV. These do waste quite a bit of space. I think it's like 130 megs or 150 megs between the two of them. But hey, this is a fun build, so why not? So I've included Handbrake for ripping DVDs and stuff, and transcoding media. It's very awesome program. Kazam, which is your screen capture program, desktop recorder. It's quite cool. PTV is it's almost like the Windows media player editor kind of thing, movie creator, whatever you get with Windows. So this allows you to create DVDs and stuff. Very nice. You can take clips, join them, edit them, put some effects on them. It's quite handy, you know, especially a Windows user that comes onto a build and he doesn't know what he's looking for. I mean, he knows he's looking for a movie editor, but all the names look strange to him. He doesn't know what's better than the rest or any of that stuff. So these are quite handy for those guys, and it's already pre-installed. I mean, hell, why not? You've of course got your volume controls, and you've got VLC, which is the default media player. Windows users will know that as well. Preferences, you've got all the standard preference stuff, including your device driver manager. Under administration, you've got boot repair, boot info, very handy, both of those. Deconf editor, advanced Linux users will most likely be using that. GDebi package manager. Now, if any Windows users watching this is basically an installer. Like in Windows, when you double click an exe file, your Windows installer handles that installation. Now in Linux, you get deb files, which is basically like the Windows exe files, and this GDebi program is like the Windows installer. It handles the installation of deb files, so that's just very handy to have. Gparted is your partition manager, grub customizer for your boot screen. Makulu constructor, pre-installed on the system, so guys can edit the system and make their own ISOs and respins and whatever else they want to do. Your package managers included, printer settings included, software managers included, your system monitors included. You got your system cleaner, which is BleachBit is included, and of course your update manager is included. Right, so that's the menu. It's quite a lot of stuff on the menu. Like I said, I've got some handy shortcuts here to system settings, package manager, software manager, Makulu constructor, update manager, system monitor, user and groups. So these are probably items that you'll use from time to time. They're right here on the menu. You don't have to go far. Your favorites you'll obviously be swapping around, but I've put there files, Skype, Evolution, System Cleaner, your web browser, your Messenger, and the Paint program. So those are all there. Okay, so that's the menu. You'll see it's quite a lot of stuff I've put in here. If you go to system settings, there's a firewall included as well. And it's complete. You know, you've got access to pretty much everything. I'm not going to go through all of this. This is all standard, mostly standard Cinnamon stuff, so I'm not going to bother with that now. Let's move on to themes. I've included a couple of themes, not too many. I've got variations here of the shell theme. So you've got currently the blue gray is the default one. That's the default one, the blue grayish look. That comes on by default. You've also got the blue gold look, which has a gold text but a blue highlight and blue background. Okay, for those guys that are very into blue stuff. You've got the dark theme, and I think this will probably be very popular. This is the similar theme to the one that I used in the 64-bit of the Makulu Cinnamon edition, edited slightly but very similar. This is a very actually nice look. I think a lot of people will probably switch to this shell theme, mainly because it's very transparent. It's got a very nice look, and of course it does fit with the current look as well. Then you've got the gray, which is sort of also from the previous build that I've pulled this theme in. It's like the dark theme, it's just very much lighter, so very kind of transparent look, so that's awesome. And then you actually have the transparent theme, which is actually, I don't know why I named it transparent, but I named it transparent because it does have a lot of transparency. This is actually more the kind of Windows, I don't know, maybe a Windows 7/8 attempt at a theme look, whatever. I actually don't like this. I don't know why I included it, but I kept it, so that's fine. Anyway, so I'm going to put back to the blue gray. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different shell themes there that you can choose from. Taste does differ, so what might be ugly to you might be pretty to somebody else. Controls, you've got two different types of controls here. You've got the blue-gray, which is kind of the GTK3 theme version of that this blue theme, and then you've got the transparent, which is the arrow look basically. Under icons, you've got the Windows icons, you've got the Luna icons, you've got the classic 95 icons. So you've got 3 different icon sets that you can change to, and it's all different versions of Windows. Under window borders, you've got the Aero Black, which is a very sort of a dark black look for the borders. You've got the white borders, so you've got the dark black borders, you've got the white borders, and then you've got the transparent kind of look for the borders. So those are the 3 Aero kind of themes. You've also got the default Windows XP borders, and then you've got a whole variations of Windows 8. As you can see, they come in all different colors for Windows 8, those guys that prefer the Windows 8 look. You've got all the different borders for that. You also then have the Windows Classic borders, which is kind of, I think, what Windows 95 came out with, Windows 3, Windows 95. So that's pretty awesome as well. By default though, I have it on that transparent kind of look. And the mouse pointers, of course, the default Windows mouse pointers. So basically, in a nutshell, this is alpha, so I'm still playing with a lot of it. A lot of stuff might still change. I really got to look at this menu. There we go. I'll have a look at that. It is still alpha, so expect that kind of thing to happen. But all in all, the build is shaping up nicely. I love the look. Actually, it is nice. I actually didn't think it would come out this nice, but it is nice. I've seen the testers, they really love it. And I know 1 or 2 of the testers kind of, put on to clients' PCs and neighbors' PCs and stuff. They convert them from Windows to Linux. So I can really see the appeal where a Windows user will feel really comfortable in this. Maybe not as comfortable as Windows, but it will feel almost, like, wow, okay, this does kind of feel like my old one. Maybe just, a couple of things are different kind of thing. So I can see the appeal. So yeah, and so that's pretty much where I am at this point in time, and I just wanted to show off this awesome new build. So I'm sure it's gonna turn a lot of heads because most of the Linux distros that are being put out there, I notice, are mostly being put out to look like XP, not really Windows 7 or 8 or anything like that. And this one's more a sort of a mixture between the Luna and the Aero, but it does have a more sort of Windows 7 kind of look. So that is pretty awesome. I've got a lot of bugs and things still to fix, especially with the themes and the menus and so forth, but it is shaping up nicely, and I think it's going to be a real kick-ass release when it's done. I work most days 10-15 hours a day on Linux, so I don't think this will take me more than a few weeks to put out. I mean, I work overdrive. I sleep 4 hours a day on average, so yeah. So expect a lot of news on this build over the next week or 2. Every day I'm uploading an ISO for the testers, sometimes 2 ISOs a day. So yeah, I hope you guys keep track of this and use it when it comes out, or at least check it out. It's going to be a kick-ass release, and I will chat to you guys later.